Torah that I want to share with the guys and bring it to our own lives and bring it to aspects of our lives that aren't relevant to Limud Torah. Many of the students that are not relevant to Limud Torah, to other aspects of our life. So we're going to talk about an art in Limud Torah, a talent and an ability how to learn, and then to take that skill and bring it to other aspects of our life. I'm going to talk very specifically about Rosh Hashana, but allow me to drive on the merit to get there. Rav Aaron David is a Yid in Eretz Yisrael, one of the Rosh Hashivas, one of the Ramim, one of the Rebbeim in the Mir, that many guys from here, I'm zoichet to have a kesher to him. Some of my children have a close kesher to him, and many guys who learned in our precious yeshiva are talmidim of his. Here's a person who's a massive Talmud Chacham Shui. He knows a tremendous amount of Torah very, very well, really incredible amounts. And he has an art that at first when you see it, is almost peculiar. He'll read a Rashi that all of us have learned many times, and he gets amazed by the Rashi. He's like, I learned with him, I was zeichet to learn every Friday, and the things that leave an impression on him, I learned that already, and I'm like, okay, I know already. And he sees it and he's blown away. Now it speaks about a person, there's something called a leiv even, a stone heart, and a leiv basar, and a very feeling heart. He does have a leiv basar, and there's a sugya how to get a leiv basar. There's a whole sugya how to become a feeling person. A lot of people become very hardened. They build walls through their life, and they develop a lot of walls. A lot of pretending hardens our heart, and it's hard to be real and to be nishtaimim. I told Reb Chaim Brim that my aunt was sick, and he started crying. And I saw he had a very leiv basar, he's just a very feeling person. He's told something, he doesn't have tons of walls, there's an honest, authentic reactions. He's told something sad, he cries. He's told something happy, he fills with a simchas achayim. So there's a sugya of a leiv basar, of a very feeling heart. And certainly Rav Aaron David's response to Torah is somebody who has a leiv basar. So I do think some things we hear don't leave an impression just because our hearts are not always so available to be impressed. I think when a person lives very authentic, lowers a lot of guards, is willing to be very vulnerable and real, it's much easier to then feel when somebody says a shtickle Torah. A bacher was describing to me very recently certain insecurities he felt. Chaim, he was describing his insecurities, his bacher was describing, and I was so happy that he was comfortable to admit we all have insecurities. Me, you, and every single guy here, we're human, frail human beings who feel uncomfortable at times, who aren't so sure. We know how to pretend. And some of us are better at, we're comfortable at, we're all not. Does everybody have the same layer of insecurity? No. And certainly the ones who have it less are able to be okay with what they feel. We're human. And to be human is to have anxieties. To be human is to be insecure. We're human beings. And I was so happy this bacher was able to drop guard and express insecurities that he had. I was like, Shalom Aleichem, I'm also have my insecurities. When we have a Friday night Suda, you know how many guys have a tough time walking into the dining room? Where do I sit? Who are the guys? Where my car? And everybody can, if you're human, you could relate to that. We don't all have a tough time walking into the dining room. But we all can relate to insecurities and to questions of being in our own mind, thinking how the other person thinks about me. We all can relate to that when we get comfortable with our human side, with our frailty, and then we accept it and work and respond. That's a healthy, functioning, flourishing human being. When we build unhealthy walls and denial and not in touch with feelings and experiences that we have, so then we have a very big leva even. We tend to get a stone heart. when we engage in whether it's flight behaviors or any other type of behavior, which doesn't put us in touch with what we're feeling, so then we develop a lev ha'evan, a very stone heart, and it's hard to be impressed by things we experience. So one aspect of Rav Aaron David reading a Rashi and losing his mind is he has a lev basar. He's a very, very feeling heart. But there's something else that he's able to do, because even if you have a lev basar, but I heard it many times. I've seen that Rashi so many times, so even a feeling heart, which you could say the Rashi's amazing, but I've learned that so many times. Wouldn't even a lev basar get used to this and not be so nishtaimim from the Rashi, not be so dazzled by the Rashi shui? So one aspect and an element necessary to be impacted by Torah is to have a lev basar, is to have a very open heart that's willing to feel, that's willing to be impressed on. You have to take down a lot of walls. The more walls we have up, the more fakeness, mind you, the more we have up a feel, just creating like impressions of security, of we're fine, we're robotic. The less we're willing to be human and frail and have all human feelings, the less we have walls, the more our hearts are lev basar. One of the goals of the yeshiva, if we're successful, is to produce a lev basar. A guy should graduate from here with a lev basar. A lev basar is a heart that feels. And he's told something, you have to take a lot of walls down. And then you're told something sad, and you feel sad because you're not pretend, you're not built up. How many times do we stifle tears? And this doesn't, just like hold them back. Why are you holding back tears? Cry. Because it's not, wait, what's he going to, this is so embarrassing. But a lev basar is willing to take down walls, who's secure enough. We're human being. And willing to be human, so you could produce a lev basar. And it's a sugya of producing a lev basar. And certainly when I witness Rav Aaron David learning Torah, I see a lev basar, a very, very feeling heart. But there's a whole other sugya that I want to express that's on top of the lev basar. And what's on top of the lev basar, safe trip, thank you for being here. What's on top of the lev basar is a second aspect. And the second aspect that exists is that through our life's experience, we change. We have new experiences, we grow up, and when he learns Torah, he's learning very present, Akiva. He's not learning yesterday's Gemara and yesterday's person, he's very present. It's a very cool experience to learn with him, Rav Aaron David. You can watch the way he processes Torah, what it's saying to him today. I'm different than the guy who learned the parsha last year. He learns very present, and he's there, and the parsha has something to say now to me. You could see, if you ever learn, one of the hardest chavrusas in the world to learn with is somebody who has notes from the last time they learned the Masechta. And they read their notes, it's deathly. A Rebbe who's saying shiurim from his old notes, death. I want to tell you a story in my life, Menach. Menach, I want you to hear this. I was once at a speech, please listen, this is interesting. I was once at a speech of a famous speaker, and he repeated a speech that I had heard him say word for word elsewhere. And I was convinced I exposed the fraud. Like it was his unfortunate thing. I was at a different one of his speeches. I mamish was convinced I was like the hero. I had a whole plan, my expose, the word of the expose. What does expose mean? Expose.
What's the definition of expose?
Which word? E-X.
No.
Expose means.
No, my bad.
She's not that bright.
She's tripping out. We gotta just Google it. Expose.
Here, listen, expose.
A report of the facts about something, especially a journalistic report that reveals something scandalous.
If you reveal a scandal, it's called an expose. So Chaim, I was ready for my expose. And a famous person, I nailed him. He said the speech ready. The jokes were the same. Now at the time I was convinced. Now I've grown up, And how many speeches? Let's say I have 4.5 speeches. Wherever I go, say the 4. Why would I even try something? I don't know so much else. Yeah, so you say the 4.5 things you know. There's nothing wrong with that.
The 400.
The question, Rav Ezi, is the person present. It can't be yesterday's Torah, Akiva. It has to be that you're connected to it today. Looking back, the fact that he repeated word for word a different speech, excellent. As long as he's present the second time he said it. Now, when he said it, this is subtle. If when he said it, he was saying that speech, then we might as well have a tape recorder, not bring the guy down. Just so a video. And there's a power that a person's there living. I know when I say a speech, and I said yesterday's speech, it doesn't go into the guys.
Into it, he can't be like a robot.
He has to be feeling it, connected to it, and there'll automatically be nuances. There'll be emotions, yes. There'll be emotions there that are different than the last time because it's hitting him different, the same Torah. And if a person's very present when they learn, David, if they're very present, they'll hear things that it didn't hit them. Anybody who davens very present, today's tefillah is very different than yesterday. Different things are on my mind today. Different brachas like matter a lot. Different things like even pull you in because I'm feeling different today than yesterday. So Shui, the way he learns of Aaron David is very present. And what hits him today is different than what hit him yesterday. It's pashut like that. We could read parashas in the Torah. I'm going through something. A parasha I learned could be, I can't believe it. Something resonates because I learned with my issues. I want a guy to come to his Seder with his issues. It's interesting. Sometimes you think, okay, push away. You should actually come to prayers with your issues. You should come to Torah. Torah, bring your problems. If a guy had a rough date Wednesday night, he should bring the rough date the first Seder Thursday morning. He should bring it with him. She shouldn't be there, but the mindset, because Torah is talking to the guy. I'm sitting down as a guy who had a tough time last night. Yeah, I don't say she should come to first Seder. First Seder is going to look awfully funny. Tomorrow, like the next time we have a whole lake with Chabura here, we're going to have like double the crowd.
I'm not ready to hear that.
I don't know if we have space. We'd have to minus 2 sections here.
Yeah, that's not the problem, Rob. Most of the space is not the issue.
We'll have more Shabbat brachas in Yeshiva. It's a good zach.
Right, that's good.
The ketzer is that the guy should bring himself to the learning. And you'll, in a very real way, the Torah will talk to you. It talks very present to the person. I've seen Rav Aaron David learn, and he's learning very present. As you are what you're going through, read the Torah, you'll see things will talk to you. You'll notice things. You're a person who's gone through today's event. Daven presently, learn presently, and you'll see things will resonate. You'll hear things will matter to you in a very, very real way. It was interesting. I asked Ilan to share his Chabura with me, that he said to the Chabura. He said a beautiful Chabura. And I want you to know the lumdus he said spoke to me in my life, not in any forced way. In a very practical way. He's very honest. It was like unbelievably relevant to my life, amazingly relevant to my life. We had a Yid who came for Shabbos who recently texted me. He's a beautiful Yid. And he said never to use the word unbelievable. He said words impact, and he'd correct. He didn't like the word unbelievable, because it is believable. He said, say amazing, not unbelievable. He came for Shabbos. Remember him? He just texted me last week. Rav Shur, the Yid with the cane.
Oh, no, I wasn't here.
So he didn't like the word unbelievable. He's a very fascinating Yid. So I correct myself. Unbelievable, you say amazing. He says, not unbelievable, it is believable, it's just true. So he's exact with words, I like that. But the Kitzer Shui is there's one is to learn with a leiv basar, is to learn with an honest, open heart, and the second is to bring yourself very, very present and allow to be impacted today. So I want to talk, and there's so many areas of our life that would be better if we would allow to express and connect today. I had this pet thing. I had this thing with Tisha B'Av that many of us had a very loser mentality. Sorry to say it, not in a classy way, that we can't connect to Tisha B'Av, except Hashem told us to listen to the Chacham, and we have a Tisha B'Av. So then we can connect to Tisha B'Av. I don't like a loser's mentality, defeatist mentality. We can't get, that's ridiculous. Let's connect to Tisha B'Av. And if we have a Tisha B'Av, so then it can mean something because God gave it to us. So many people come Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, and adults have attitudes that were developed when they were 6. When we were little kids, Rosh Hashanah, the long davening was hard for us, 100% true. Even when we were young teenagers, even a 14-year-old, it's a long davening. And I don't say when we're 18 and 20 and 25 and 45 and 50 that it's not a long davening. We still have a 12-year-old in us. There's still a kid in us. But I say if we're not present people that allow to connect to something as a present person, we can only engage it as a youngster. I want to talk to you for a minute about something I discovered as a young person here, and I'm in a little bit. I want to talk about a counter to this. I was a youngster here, discovered a bacher was very, very mad at his father. He hated his father. And it bothered me why he hated his father. The bacher was 17 years old, brilliant. And his father clearly wasn't normal. And why would you hate the man? The man clearly couldn't do better. Why would you hate him? Now you could say, but he still hurt me. But intellectually and even emotions can understand that. So I thought maybe just emotions are crazy. Emotions don't respond to truth. But you know your father's crazy. Why doesn't that affect your emotions? And it took a long time to figure this out to us, and now it's pasha to me. And the answer is if he was born at 17, he would not hate his father. Because he intellectually understands that his father is not normal. So emotionally, he would follow that intellect. The problem is he was once 12. And when he was 12, he didn't know his father was crazy. And you don't find out and you're healed. He's crazy. Better. Because there's a whole sugya of how to heal that child in you who was hurt and didn't know he was crazy. So there's a sugya. You need to process it and work through and update the inner child. This is called inner child work. This is a very real, simple concept and a true concept. What I want to say is part of the healing is allowing also for an 18-year-old to feel. At least that should be inside of a person, the 12-year-old, and an 18-year-old perspective. There's some people that don't revisit a sugya as a 17-year-old. Now, it doesn't mean because I process 17, the 12-year-old sugya will disappear, but it means I'm still processing things. I'm connecting and relating. A lot of us decide things and never reanalyze. How many people never reanalyze Torah? They never we learn the Eitz Hadas. How many people? I was by Rabbi Shapiro's shir yesterday. I don't want to go. I'm going to say very briefly the Torah. What really got me is he's thinking about the Torah in his 40s. How many of us settle? Rabbi Shapiro was talking about that when we heard Hashem talk, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, what happened? He asked the class, what happened? A voice rang out, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. How did we know it was Hashem? How did we know it was Hashem? So it was we were probably looking for the loudspeaker. Is there a ventriloquist amongst us? Such a loud voice. How do we know it's Hashem? Maybe somebody figured out a trick and made a very loud voice. Explained Rabbi Shapiro to the guys that it was not process of elimination. Well, it can't be a person. None of us speak that loud. So it's probably Hashem. He said that's not called prophecy. One time in our life, we were shown Hashem. Klal Yisrael, who knew everything we know, said, Zeh Keli, we saw Hashem. They pointed and said it was Hashem. Is this a table because of process of elimination, Shui? It's a table because you know. There's something called to know. Should I prove to you I'm seeing a table? I don't have to. I don't feel, it can't be. No, I know it's a table. There's something called knowing. It's very deep what it means to know. We knew it was Hashem. I can't even imagine how could that be. And I'm not even sure. We hear it. Hashem said, "Noichi Hashem." They heard it in a different way, and they heard Hashem say it. I'm not even sure it was sound like we're used to sound being. That's why it says they saw what we usually hear. It's a visual. Hashem doesn't have vocal cords. Now you say it was an inner voice, or they were hearing things. No, they knew. They knew. Now me and you never had this experience. The best way we could hear it is God spoke to them. I can't even fathom what that God and 3 million normal people who know science and evidence, and they said, no, we saw Hashem. It's like wild what that means. We heard Hashem say. It's like wild. There wasn't a loud voice and nothing else was probable. And we could look at a leaf today and it's God to say it. You look at the world, but that's a lower level. There's such a thing. Mm-hmm. Anybody who studies this world, it's very far-fetched. There's no creator and organizer. Anybody who sits in a room, you have to be like Azam Maimin to say there's nobody organizing is crazy. There are much lesser things that speak. The organization says I see a can, somebody designed a can. It's not so complicated. So we know there's Hashem, but that's a lower level. That's not nevuah. Prophecy is to know. It's not to deduce. It's not to eliminate other possibilities. It's to know. So my point being, we could talk about this. I probably lost the chevra. The rest of the speech, you're going to contemplate that. Mm-hmm. My point was that he reanalyzed Maimon Har Sinai as an adult. He stopped being a kid. He analyzed Maimon Har Sinai as an adult person. And then how many people stop thinking about it further? I learn about it when I'm 8, and the rest of my life I relate to the 8-year-old. It's extremely important to revisit and to put an adult understanding, and then we grapple. I was once a kid, and I have to work with that. And that's there, but it's important to have that ability to review it, be present, be a person who relates today. There are so many people who Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, and I want to talk practically, would be an incredible experience for them. Literally a beautiful, if they give it a chance. You have to convince people, but I'm bored. You were 6. You were 14. If you would allow for an opportunity as an adult to reconnect to something, to give it a chance, and to see presently my connection, it would actually be a remarkably moving experience. I have found, and what I want from guys is to connect to Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. It's true, we were all kids one day, and the deep association is just boring. Rosh Hashanah, long day. We're not kids anymore. We're older. And we can handle, it's a day in shul, it's true. And I'm not saying we're not still, that we get impatient, but we're also capable of intellectually, emotionally reanalyzing something. I'm very weirded out by people. You can't be selective with midas. There are people who don't try foods. I didn't like it when I was young. I think that's silly. I couldn't handle squash when I was a kid. I like it today. Food is not. We need food to live. It's this. You don't sit here darshaning about food. It's very important. That squash, I didn't like it as a kid. I like it a lot today. You grow, you get older, your taste buds change, a lot of things change. I wouldn't eat broccoli as a kid. I love broccoli today. It's very sad. It's tragic, the person, and it's much worse than food. It's tragic, the guy who's 50, I don't eat broccoli. Now, if he tried broccoli today and it didn't sit with him, wonderful. But if he doesn't like it because he was 1/6, that's tragic. That's tragic. So and there are people who stay like this. They're frozen in every aspect of their life. Trauma can do this to somebody. You see people who remain 6 emotionally. But this also can free up trauma, the willingness, the leiv basar, and the willingness to experience today, not to say today that I experienced it yesterday. I'm here today. I'm a present person. and to say to myself that I'm here today, and I want to today ask myself about the experience of Rosh Hashanah. How tragic is it you have a 53-year-old man and his relationship to Rosh Hashanah is from the 10-year-old. He didn't even ask himself that as a 50-year-old, I'm in a different place in my life, and the day actually could be amazingly meaningful and even magical. I have many friends, my grandmother, whose birthday we used to celebrate is on Yom Kippur, her favorite day of the year, very normal person who wasn't given to hyperbole. Her best day of the year was her birthday, was Yom Kippur. She loved it, she waited, she relished the day of Yom Kippur. It's, to me, as I get older, that's like, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yom Kippur is an incredible day. Now, it's true, a youngster would never feel this way, and I'm not trying to sell people, and if a guy struggles with a long day, so be it. But if he's struggling, because the 10-year-olds with a long day, don't look now, he's not 10 anymore. The willingness to experience, and not to say I experienced it yesterday, what's today's experience, and to re-experience it today. People have this with parents. With a parent that I experienced something as a youngster and I refuse to revisit, there's something tragic about not revisiting as an older person. And in Torah, how many sugyas in Torah are not revisited as an old? I know it already. Rav Aaron David gets excited by a Rashi we read a year ago because he's reading it again today, and it makes sense. He's willing to read, and obviously, anybody reads an old Rashi, it means much different today. My experience is like I fall in love with the Rashi in a whole new way, in a whole new set of experiences. Of course, like Pashut like that when you read the Torah. Each year that we complete, we're getting near the end of the Torah. I'm very excited to read Bereshis this year. I've made a lot of changes in my life. And I wanted Daniel Kalish of this year. It's going to be Tafshin Pei Gimel Be'ezeh Hashem when we learn Bereshis again. I want to meet Avram. It's not yesterday's Torah. And yesterday's Torah is really very not fresh. I don't care. Repeat the speech. Just you better be talking to me today. And when you talk to me today, I'll know. You're talking present. And by the way, you'll see different emotions and reactions because it's today. How would it be the same reaction? And if you don't see different reaction, and we've all been guilty of that, then you're repeating yesterday's Torah. Boring, lifeless. But if you're very present and willing to be present, I want to tell you something I learned during COVID. It was something very, very fascinating that I learned during COVID, and it changed my Yom Tovim. It changed. I had the best, probably Pesach, Shavuos, Lag BaOmer. All these Chagim changed, and B'siyata D'Shmaya, it's been different since. I want you to hear this. By Pesach, should we listen to this? Pesach. So if everybody rewinds, COVID hit and Pesach came. And Pesach came, really, there was a lot of confusion. Everything had just been very new. And to watch everybody turn to Pesach in the middle of COVID was cool. Everybody was confused. Life had changed in a way most of us never saw in our life anything such dramatic change. Shuls closed, schools closed, neighbors, everybody holed up in our homes. Wacky world. And then Pesach hit. And to watch people under this unique condition accept Pesach, work on Pesach, under these unique new conditions was fascinating. And I discovered something then, Shui, that changed my life. I'm very into reading Holocaust books. It was something growing up. I grew up with a grandmother who was a survivor. And as such, I was very curious about the Holocaust and read a lot about it, tons of books. And my favorite part of the books, my favorite parts of the Holocaust books were Yidden observing Yomim Tovim, the Holocaust. The guy who lit the Chanukah Neiros, what it looked like, crazy, how they ate matzah, doing mitzvahs, Siddharim, Purim, Simchas Torah. Any account of a Yom Tov under those conditions was striking. It was like, are you kidding me? Very, very striking. Chaim, I want to say what I learned during COVID. So at the time, I just was amazed. Are you serious? You make a Pesach, you're eating matzah in a concentration camp? See, in the concentration camp, you're celebrating Pesach, Meshuggah, heroic, wow. during COVID, something hit me. What hit me, Chaim, is not that the Yid went to Pesach. I want you to, it's going to sound poetic words. I'm saying something real. I thought that the story was in Auschwitz, the Yid went to Pesach. The real story is Pesach goes to Auschwitz. And I want to explain that to you. It's not just words. What I mean is that Pesach has what to say in Auschwitz. A Yom Tov talks. A Yom Tov says something. And where you are, the Yom Tov talks to you. Rosh Hashanah is not like, it's true we prepare for a Yom Tov, but the Yom Tov comes to us also. That we go to the Yom Tov and the Yom Tov comes to us. So it's true we prepare for Rosh Hashanah. It's also true that what I'm going through in my life, Rosh Hashanah has what to say. It calls and beckons and speaks to us where we are. So you prepare for a Yom Tov most definitely, but the Yom Tov meets you too. It's called a mayed, a meeting place. It's not just you travel. So when I was a youngster reading these books, I was visualizing the Yid went to Pesach in Auschwitz. What I chapped during COVID was Pesach came to the Yid. It said to me that this Pesach, it wasn't just in midst of our things, try to celebrate Pesach. I actually had a Pesach that had things to tell me in the situation I was in. And I celebrated, and it spoke to me. There was a lot of messages to somebody going through what we were going through. And Lag BaOmer, and Shavuos, and it changed an approach to all Yom Tovim. As much as we go to the Yom Tov comes to us. I asked somebody, you have to be very present to do that. It's not leave COVID, leave the frustrations of your life. It's Rosh Hashanah. No, what does Rosh Hashanah say about the frustrations of your life? A guy's struggling. Amidst all his struggles, and he's called by Hashem to blow a shofar and coronate Hashem. He's like, woo, I'm not there. That's not where. So what does it say to a guy struggling? What does it say to a guy going through this? You know what thoughts are? If I am told to have Rosh Hashanah, if I am commanded, God said, I want you to blow a shofar and coronate me. God, it chuckled. Do you know where I am? Do you know what I'm doing? Yes, I want you to blow a shofar and coronate me. It has what to say to a guy in every condition. The story of the Yid who lit the menorah in Auschwitz is not just the Yid left Auschwitz and lit a menorah. It means that the menorah said something to a Yid in Auschwitz, and even to a Yid under those conditions heard something and was spoken to and connected to a mitzvah. Mitzvah had what to tell him, which of course he lit the menorah and it spoke to him and it resonated by him. This point, to be present with your mitzvahs, to accept and connect to Rosh Hashanah in a present way. I have watched guys for years, and I'm asking the guys, I'm not playing, I'm asking everybody here that it's coming Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and I get it, you were once 8. Rosh Hashanah was extremely boring. I promise as a 16, 17, 18, and 25-year-old, and 35 and 47 could actually be magical if you are willing to come as a 47-year-old. I promise there are 40-year-olds who only bring their 8-year-old to shul. They don't update and ask and don't come present with their frustrations are present. If you come present, it can connect and relate in a very meaningful and real way. I had this mission, and together with the guys, we created a Tisha B'Av that guys say is one of their most meaningful days of the year. And they're actually say about Tisha B'Av that it matters. You could ask guys, normal people in yeshiva, who are big giant fans who don't like missing the Sunday football game. Normal, regular guy, regular emotions, says Tisha B'Av's very meaningful, and dare say, I really appreciated the day. Normal people. There was something we connected and related and experienced on the day that was moving and meaningful. And Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as well, we have a possibility, if we are willing to be present, if we are willing to say that it's true when I was a youngster, but there's some, what about today? We have that possibility. Will there also be that the kid will come to shul with us? Every father brings his youngster to shul. Every 40-year-old brings his inner youngster to shul. And the inner youngster will have feelings and is allowed to have those feelings. And we work through. But we also have a 40-year-old in shul. We also have an 18-year-old in shul. Let him come too. Let him experience it too. It's interesting, anybody who tries to make a Cholamayid trip with a big family grapples that you have an 18-year-old and a 7-year-old, and you got to figure out the Cholamayid trip. So comes Rosh Hashana. We have within ourselves, we have an 18-year-old and a 7-year-old, and you got to figure out Rosh Hashana. And maybe you give the 7-year-old some nice breaks, but the possibility of connecting to a Chag in a meaningful, special way, to have pieces of davening that resonate by a person, to have the shofar actually say something, the mitzvah daraisa actually say something to him. What I say to guys, and the first approach of anything before we get to the emotional, to what resonates by us, is to find out our obligations. Step one. What does God want me to do? All the other things come from our responsibilities. The first thing I would say to a Bach Rosh Hashanah is to make sure he hears the shofar. That's the mitzvah daraisa, that's mitzvah sayayim, is to make sure, before he even make sure that he hears the blowing of the shofar. There are 30 blasts he has to hear, it's a mitzvah daraisa. To hear those 30 blasts and to make sure he hears, that's a mitzvah daraisa. I would advise a guy to study stuff about the shofar, to study, to see what resonates, find out what a chazal, what a svarim write, listen to speeches about it, look up and be curious. This was my tzivui, now I want to study my command, and then I mispainin. I think it's so interesting. Hashem in shul wanted me to come, and he wants me to hear this horn blown. It's a mitzvah daraisa. I'm a loyalist to Hashem. And my mitzvah starts there, identifying the mitzvah, identifying my obligation. Very, very much, not all things are equal. Different people have different sitting powers to even find out the most important things to say. The Rosh Hashanah davening that has 3 parts, I want to talk about the 3 parts, Malchios, Zichronos, and Shofros. 3 aspects that we're busy with on Rosh Hashanah. It's a very fascinating day. And there are 2 things that don't seem to have shaykhs. It's confusing, and the davening has 3 parts: Malchias, Zichronos, and Shofros. We say 10 psukim in the Torah. 3 from Torah, 3 from Nevi'im, 3 from Ksuvim, and then a 10th pasuk, could be from various places. We say 10 psukim about Malchias, 10 psukim about Zichronos, 10 psukim about Shofros. It's very, very interesting. There's 2 things going on Rosh Hashanah that seem unrelated. I'm a guy, I don't do 2 things well at once at all. I'm very poor at that. If I'm involved in one thing and somebody tries to distract me, I'm just weak at that. I get into one thing, and that's what I'm into. Another, if I'm watching I'm watching Hootie's game, I'm just a very poor guy to schmooze with that, and I'm watching the game. One thing at a time. I don't do 2 things. Parents have come to varsity games that I'm like orangutan in. What about my son's life? I try to be polite. I'm like shake. I'm just trying to watch the game. Like I really just want to. I'm not about that. Well, your son's futures matters to me. I don't. We will talk to your son. Then we're not watching the game. I don't. Now, should I work on myself? I'm trying. But I'm into one thing. Rosh Hashanah is hard that there are 2 things going on. It's dizzying. The day itself seems to be like Hashem, like 2 for the price of 1. Why couldn't we have 2 different days? There's something called Malchios that were Mamlich Hashem. It's the day of the coronation of Hashem. That's Malchios. And Rosh Hashanah is about coronating Hashem. It's one aspect of Rosh Hashanah. A second aspect is Zichronos, is we're being judged. It's like, it almost seems that God is doing one thing and we're doing something else. Could you imagine, in the yeshiva, we have faced days, great days of judgment. We've had government come down and do inspections that the question was, do they shut us down permanently or the survival of the yeshiva? We had days like that. Could you imagine they're walking around? We've had CDC and government agencies walking around with pads and pens, and they're deciding on the future of the yeshiva. So just ignore it. You just do your thing. Do my thing. All I'm thinking about, I promise, I'm a guy who only does one thing. All I'm thinking about is their judgment. I assure you. There was no, just say that. Sometimes the yeshiva will do dinner videos. They'll video Musaf. Rabbi say, you just, I'm thinking about, come, let's all be honest. The Bacher is sitting here, he knows the video's going out, he's making sure he looks good, who's going to see it, he's a lot on his mind. Make sure, ignore me like I'm not here. Go ahead. I always wondered, you ever wondered, what are those called, the movies? What are those movies called where it's like a guy's life, like documentary? I always wondered, how real is a documentary? Just act like yourself. And millions of people are going to watch you and see and judge you, but just be yourself. Like how real a documentary could be. How do they do that?
It's not real.
They don't hide the kids.
But how real could it be if they're videoing him to show and he knows their cameras? What? But he knows. No, I'm talking about the documentaries where they video. But just be yourself, and millions of people watch. Like, Momo, is it possible to be real?
You can bring your bad date to first Seder.
You're talking about reality television. Like reality television. Elio, could reality television ever be reality? Like, I don't know what it would take to be natural, knowing that it's being videoed and millions are watching. Could it ever be natural? I don't know how it's possible. You'd have to be, if you know it's being videoed, know it's being broadcast, know everybody's watching, your mother's watching, your brother's watching, your friends, but just be natural. I hear. I'll try. It's not that possible to just be natural. To say just ignore me, except your mother's going to watch this, except your brother, but ignore me. Maybe somebody could do that. It's difficult. Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is judging us. He's judging. But he says to us, don't respond, ignore that I'm judging you. It's wild. We do no tshuva on Rosh Hashanah, but we're being judged. So please ignore me. Don't mind me. If guys ever the picture of playing sports, picture a baseball coach, like tryouts for a team. The picture of baseball tryouts, what's the guy running the tryouts? He always has a chalkboard. He has like a thing he's writing, and he always has sunglasses. You can't see his eyes. There's something to that. It's a deep word. In any video, movie, picture, I'm very into pictures. The picture of baseball tryouts is the coach with sunglasses on, but tinted sunglasses. The verse, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know, and he's writing in his notes. And I can't even read his eyes. It's tinted glasses, you can't see. And that's the picture. And it's you guys just play. Are you making varsity? The kid's dreaming for 15 years about the team. You just play. The worst basketball we have in yeshivas, we didn't do tryouts this year. I eliminated it. It's the worst basketball ever in the history of basketball is tryouts. Because they're being watched, judged. You can't play normal. You just can't play normal. They're fouling, tackling. You're not playing smooth and flowing because you're being judged. So what we do is, we had tournaments, we never had a tryout, and then we just looked at guys playing ball and decided. At the point it was Chala's tryouts, you have not normal basketball. Menachem, you ask what you're saying, Momo?
Isn't it the same, if they're playing an actual game of varsity, there's a lot of people watching that also?
It's true, but here you're practically being judged. Is your dream happening? You're on the team, okay. So you're playing hard. The judgment and the decision and how much is at stake is it makes it very hard. Hashem is judging on Rosh Hashanah, Ophir. He's judging us. So what should we be busy doing? Getting judged. How does it look like if somebody's judging? It looks as I'm sorry, Hashem. Please be ignore me. Hashem, don't pay no mind. I'm judging, pay no mind. You coronate me as king. We are not on the same page, and I'm asked to be oblivious. I'm coronating as king, but he's judging me. And he's judging me on past behavior. I want to say, I'm so sorry. You're not even allowed to say you're sorry on Rosh Hashanah. Every instinct to say, Hashem, I won't sin. I know I messed up. Look, ignore me. We are not on the same page. God's judges, we're coronating. What is he asking me? So ignore him. Just ignore me. Be yourself. Except you're judging me. And to figure out, those are two aspects of Rosh Hashanah. Malchios is our being Mamlech Hashem, and Zichronos is the memories that Hashem is judging.
So we say
and our
Zichronos.
deeds. I'm asking, how do we, we're busy with Malchios. We acknowledge that he's judging, but we don't respond with Malchios and Zichronos. What's happening here? We're coronating, he's judging. We're coronating, he's judging. Are we not on the same page? What's happening, Rabbi say?
Is he judging you on what you're doing on Rosh Hashanah?
Simone says.
Yeah. So what do you want to answer? You want to say that alone, if I do a good job being mamlech.
The baseball coach is judging you on your previous games, and then just right now he's saying just go play, and you'll have a much easier time playing if he's judging you on how to play right now.
So Momo says the best response to judgment is to be mamlech Hashem. If I'm mamlech Hashem is the best response to judgment. Better than any apologies and regrets and sorries is the behavior of now. That's a very good answer. That's a very good answer.
Give it again.
Very good answer. Right? Is that it? You like his answer?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Somebody recording this is going to be broadcast.
We're acting.
I like his answer a lot. Because but Hashem's not really. I'll just say you're the king. I promise. Yeah. From now on until tomorrow, maybe I get whatever. So that's it. It's good.
Isn't Momo asking whether or not Rosh Hashanah counts as Day of Judgment? I mean, does Rosh Hashanah count for the next year?
That's a very excellent question. That's a very, very intelligent. I want to say that I don't want to give an answer. I will not give an answer to this because I want guys to be present. I want you to think about this. Hashem is mamlech us. I mean, we are mamlech Hashem, and He judges us. What happened here? I'm asking the guys to think about this. This question will bring you to good places. There are three tasks of the day: Malchias, Zichronis, and Shofros. And where does Shofar fit into this? What's fascinating is the Shofar is supposed to have both aspects. And the Shofar, Allah Hashem B'Trua, the Shofar is the coronation of the king, and the Shofar signifies as well, the Rambam says, tshuva. So it's fascinating that the shofar somehow brings both things together. What Hashem does and what we do. Hashem is judging, we are coronating, and the shofar is supposed to somehow connect both things. Bameh b'shofar. The shofar both is the way we coronate Hashem, and the shofar, the Rambam says, both arouses us to tshuva. Very, very interesting two aspects. I'm not coming to answer. I am coming to say that find out our tasks of the day, what we're supposed to be busy with. So first we have the mitzvah daraisa. The mitzvah daraisa is to hear the shofar, do your mitzvah. The prayers of Malchias, Zichronis, and Shofar say the Shemana Esrei. It is the longest Shemana Esrei of the year. And certainly to try to be there for Shemana Esrei is very important. What we do, but Rabbi say, what we do with our tekiyos, the reason we have 30 sounds is we're supposed to have a tekiya true and a tekiya for Malchias, a tekiya true, a tekiya for Shofros, a tekiya true, a tekiya for Zichronis. Those three facets of the day, Malchias, Zichronis, and Shofros, and we need a tekiya, true a tekiya for each. By Nusach Svard, during the private Shemana Esrei, Nusach Svard, during the private Shemana Esrei, we've had Bachram and Yeshiva who were waiting. They stopped Shemana Esrei. We've had guys who were waiting a long time. They were waiting for the shofar. We had guys who were used to Svard, and they were waiting for the shofar during the private Shemana Esrei. The guy waited a long time because we do Nosach Ashkenaz. We don't blow it during the private Shemana Esrei. But not just Svard, even Nosach Svard does this, right? Chassidim, Nosach Svard blows the shofar during the private, quiet Shemana Esrei. I have seen it. People daven and they do Malchias, and during private Shemoneh Esrei, there's the blast.
Where am I up to? What do you mean? Does
You
the guy
pause.
pull out Kiyush just
No, there's no calling
just a
out.
blow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what the
it's
other
wild.
two
It's confusing.
can't
Now,
even imagine.
Ashkenaz doesn't do this. By Nusach Ashkenaz, we do it by Chazar Sashatz. By the reviewing of the Shemoneh Esrei, when the Chazan davens, so we have the blast. Now, the reason there are 30 blasts, that should have been 9, is because we don't know what a Tkiya true and a Tkiya are. There are 3 shitas, what those 3 sounds are. There's one shita to Tkiya, true as the way we have the trua, that broken sound, and a Tkiya. There's 3 shitas, either Tkiya, trua, Tkiya. It's either Tkiya, shvarim Tkiya. It's a shaila what a trua is. There are 2 types of cries. So it could be or it could be da. It's 2 types of cries. One is like a groan, oy, 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 and one is like a sobbing. It's 2 type of cries. There's deep points to what those 2 cries are, and one sheet is that it's both cries. So Tkiya, shvarim, trua Tkiya. So there's 10 sounds to get the 3 sounds. We're not sure what those 3 sounds are daraisa. We need 10 blows. We do a Tkiya, trua Tkiya, Tkiya, shvarim Tkiya, Tkiya, shvarim, trua Tkiya. We do 10 sounds to get our 3 sounds. And then we do it for Malchus, Zechrinus, and Shayfris, which equal 30 sounds. We have 30 sounds to do a daraisa. Step 1 is to listen to the 30 sounds. Do your daraisa, be a loyalist. God commanded, we do. Step 2 is to study what's the shayfer about, and then to ask what resonates by you. What idea is being said that resonates by you? What does the shayfer say to you? No matter what it says to you, be present. I want to say that so many guys have come to yeshiva and re-establish a connection, whether they're here for an hour of davening or 2 hours or 8 hours, have re-established like a good connection to Rosh Hashana, to its davening, to its prayers, to the mitzvahs hayom, and this art of not relating to something the way I did when I was 6 and to update it. And if I'm 19, not relating the way I was when I was 18, I'm ready to try to make a new relationship as a 19-year-old, is an art that's necessary in Limud HaTorah. It's an art that's necessary in bonding with Yom Tovim. It's an art that's necessary for all of life, of relating to somebody as I am now, not with yesterday's person. There's somebody here today. So my Tkiya Shayfer, my horn to everybody, the sound I want to make a calling to everybody is to relate as a person of now. Now I want to say that this seems like a nice agenda, Kalish. Very nice. You're getting everybody, give to Rosh Hashana. I want to say that the very day of Rosh Hashana is about ischadshus, freshness, newness. Rosh Hashana, a new year, a new aschala. The very day calls a person to newness. And the willingness to be present and updated and connecting of today, I could have given this speech about every Yom Tov. I could say, and it rings true on Pesach, it rings true on Tisha B'Av. To say this on Rosh Hashanah is not just true for Rosh Hashanah, it's actually the calling of a day that calls a person to ischadshus. Rosh Hashanah is about a new beginning. Hashem gives us there's an opportunity of Rosh Hashanah, an opportunity of a new beginning. I coronate Hashem as my melech, and he allows himself to be coronated, and this touches a lot of what Momo asked, what David was curious about. Hashem is judging, and I'm coronating. Half of the way to win judgment is to ever be new, to ever be fresh. It's the willingness to advance, the willingness to get out of the muck, the willingness to push forward and advance. That's the very essence of tshuva, is that a person can move forward and isn't stuck. So the very essence of the day is to be Mamlech Hashem, ever fresh, ever new, ever. And that's the school of Sayim. If I had to say what is the most possible of the day, if somebody wants, every Yom Tov has something you could tap into, I would say Rosh Hashanah you could tap into newness. It's the first day of the year and the possibility. I love and understand minhagim are holy. Everybody calls people wishing a good new year. We're all already started getting those calls. The early birds have already given the call. I love it. Family chasnas. There's always like the great uncle who has like his pants too high up, who's there like an hour early. I had my nephew's chasna in Eretz Yisrael. If you know about guys like me, I'm the guy who could be there like an hour. I was at the chasna like before my sister. Before I was the uncle, me and my wife. And because I have a propensity to be very late, us late guys can come very early. Because we're always like afraid, so we make sure to be there. I literally was at the chasna. Avram, I was that great uncle. I was the uncle, like be like way too early, like what's he doing here now? I was like trying not to be in the way of the pictures and everything. But why was I forgot why I was speaking. I got so excited by the chasna, but minhagim are minhagim are extremely important. I was talking about people being there very early. So that great uncle might be calling you already about Rosh Hashanah, the early birds.
Oh, right.
So you're getting early calls. It's very cool, Avram, that people vench. They wish each other gebench to your good besuras. These calls to each other. And the sense that it's a new judgment, a new year, a new opportunity, a new mazel. The beautiful calls that people, don't be a guy who's so shallow and doesn't have a lave busser. It's so cool. These calls are fascinating. A hardened person is not making these calls. We're such a fresh and young people before a new year. Should be a gebench to your good besurais. You tell an old guy like locked into bad patterns, negative thoughts, good besuras, like buddy, like not. No, there's a new chance, a new din, a new day, a new opportunity. Hischadshus, freshness, new start, new din, new gzeira. Everything's fresh and new. A tremendous skulas hazman is the possibility of being new. A tremendous, what lies in Rosh Hashanah is an opportunity for a fresh approach, for a newness. So when this, it's true, this speech about re-giving it a chance could be said about every chag, and it should be said about every single chag, but I want to say on Rosh Hashanah, it's not another point about the chag. The very chag is a zman, that's a skulas hazman is newness, Rosh Hashanah. It's a new day, with a new gzeira, with a new ming mamlech Hashem. But he's starting his kingdom now, in a certain way, there's a sense, today is a beginning. Today is a beginning and an opportunity to create a beginning that lies in the day. So when I'm calling guys to be ever fresh and to say to take a guy of now and try to connect to it, being old is the antithesis of Rosh Hashanah. And coming to that boring day, that was last year. That was so last year, the boring day. Yes, you were once a kid. Rosh Hashanah itself calls you and say you're a person of today. The very shofar says, wake up today. Listen today. Hayayim b'koiloi sishma'u. Today. To be a person who's willing to be present and willing to say, to ask himself, what's my relationship to this today? So I'm asking the guys, together we're going to make a Rosh Hashanah here. Maybe you're in some shuls where it's interesting in Waterbury. In some shuls, you might be, shul has Rosh Hashanah, and you're either going or not. We make the davening together. It's you and me. And we're going to create, and I asked the guys together, let's create a beautiful tefillah. We'll sing together. We'll bond to it together. I want to say that there's two aspects to Rosh Hashanah. And they might even reflect in the two things going on. We're mamlech Hashem and he's judging. The judging brings up a lot of yira. That's scary. Deciding for the year, that's frightening. Everything, our health for the year, there's an aspect of yira. Mamlech Hashem is tremendously happy. I know we sing. Maybe the highlight to me, we sing. I know Abdo the Kudsha Brichu Abdei Hashem, being Mamlech Hashem, purpose and meaning. We're the Am Hashem in Melech B'Layam, and there's a very happy aspect to the day and a very scary aspect to the day. I grew up in a world where the davening very much highlighted fear. Very much the day was about Yirah Shamayim. Very, very much. And my Rebbe was very serious. He didn't sing it, kemat not at all. And it highlighted Yirah Shamayim. There's a whole new davening. People in Uman know about this, and there's a whole davening that's very, very freilich, that's happy and optimistic. Both sides agree that both aspects are true. I'm going to tell you a word from the Chayza of Lublin that's incredible, Gersh. Don't get me in trouble for saying this over. But the Gemara says that in Ikvis Ad Mashiach, in the times of Mashiach, it says, Yirei Hashem Yimasu. People who fear Hashem are going to be disgusted in. So Pashup Pshat, it sounds like in the times of Mashiach, like Yirei Shemayim is going to be despised. That's Pashup Pshat. Mashiach times, people are going to hate Yirei Shemayim. That's Pashup Pshat in the Gemara, saying what a terrible generation. Dubi, you know what the Chayz of Lublin said? He said that there's going to be a tremendous push to Avas Hashem over Yiras Hashem. So it doesn't mean a negative thing. It means Yiras Hashem Yemasu, people are going to say that the main approach to connect to Hashem is Avas Hashem, and they're right. That's the Chayz of Lublin already, like Mamish and Avua. That's the Chayz of Lublin said. So I want to say that there's a tremendous aspect of the prayer that's going to be positive, that's going to reflect the happy and positive sense for Avdei Hashem, which is very, very Rosh Hashanah-dik. It's very, very important aspect of the day. There is an aspect of Yira that certainly will be reflected, but there's two aspects. And Avos, a very, very exciting aspect of being Mamlech Hashem. I would say, I dare say, the davening in yeshiva is going to more reflect that aspect of the day. I think that resonates by a generation today. I think there's sources in Svarim for such an aspect. The tremendous simcha, the tremendous joy of being Avdei Hashem. The tefillos will more reflect that aspect of the day. In many ways, that itself is our ikar task. Hashem is judging and we are coronating. Coronating is a happy, it's not sad. Hashem's the melech. There's fire. The tkiyah sound itself is very, very happy. The trua is a cry, and it really reflects the day. Happy and scared, it reflects the day. It happens to be, for anybody keeping score at home, there are two happy sounds surrounding a sad sound. Tkiyah, trua, tkiyah, it's 2-1. Winner, who wins? The happy sound. It's interesting, the dual aspects of the day. Our task, Tkiyah is known as a very powerful and upbeat sound. A trua is a cry. A tkiyah is a shout of joy, of exhilaration. A tkiyah is a positive sound. A trua is a wailing. And I want to say that the ikar of the Yom is a tremendous simcha of being mamlech, of coronating Hashem, is a people who have a purpose. We are the Avdei Hashem. Anu Amecha, we are your nation, we're your people. The davening will reflect a very cheerful, positive davening. It has a seriousness. We're not lost to us that it's a Yom Hadin, but our avodah being Mamlech Hashem, this positive task that we have a mission, we have a purpose, that will be reflected in the prayers. So I ask everybody not just to join the davening, to create the davening. We'll create the davening together. I'm almost like asking, our hands are all in the middle now, on 3, like Wolfpack on 3, Rosh Hashanah on 3, that will all together create a very, very beautiful davening together is the task. The task always of Rosh Hashanah is to be present and new. To try to graduate from yesterday's feeling. I was once 8. It's true. You were once 8 in Rosh Hashanah. Again, I don't say it's not long. I say with maturity, take breaks. Take your 8-year-old out. I like a guy to take a break. I've already seen a guy in too long. Go out. No, take a break. It's kedai to find out. Some guys stay in at the wrong parts. Find out. Ask somebody, where's the halacha? It's important, like, to know what's going on. So a guy with a sophisticated way, he wants to be there for shofar. He asks, where can I go out? We do attempt. During the 30 sounds, it's important not to talk. To hear all 30 sounds of your daraisa. That's certainly important. There's a chashva inyan. If a guy could do it, not talk from the first blast till the 100th blast, that's mamish, very, very chashav, to hear all 100 sounds. The daraisa is 30 sounds. Midrabanan, we blow 60. Chavivas hamitzvahs, because we're born for mitzvahs, so we blow 60 blasts. We blow 30 right away, even before we did malchus, karnas, and shofars. Tkiyas the Mu'ummah, the Miyoshev, we blow 60 blasts, we have a minhag of 40 more. If a guy is quiet the whole time from the first blast to the last one, Ashrei Chelkai. If a guy at the very minimum could do the 60 sounds, that's a long time. To be quiet for all 60 sounds means the beginning. You could ask somebody when the 60 sounds ends. If a guy could be for the first 30, that's the halacha. So the first 30, it's not very long. The first 30 sounds, that's the halacha, not to talk. From the bracha till after the 30 sounds, that's pashut, he should hear. And b'yaitze his daraisa of the tkiyas, of the shofar, that's tremendously, tremendously important. That's a starting point of his mitzvah. To also make sure to say the Shemona Esrei, Malchias, Sechronis, and Shofars. To say those psukim about each one is extremely, extremely important. Be'ezer Hashem, we will have more, learn more tomorrow about some of the davening of Rosh Hashanah. I want to continue tomorrow. I want to talk about Erev Rosh Hashanah, which is going to be Sunday morning. We're going to say Slichas together, B'Raiv Am. So we'll, talk about it. Yashakar Chavosei. There'll be a minyan for Mincha now for everyone.
What do you look about davening in English?